What's going on, Soul Tribe? I salute the divinity in you, and welcome to my channel, Alchemist. Justin here, and are you ready to set some intentions, work with these energies? Because we got a kind of a lighter one this week, but I think that these are going to be some very impactful ones. The Sun is talking with both of the malefics, Mars and Saturn there, so those are going to be some interesting conversations. And then we have Mercury and Venus, who's retrograde at the moment. They're going to be forming their first conjunction. So I think there's something between this Venus and Mercury conjunction, and the Sun and Saturn are going to be forming one as well. And the Sabian symbols have this relationship that's very interesting, that there's this sort of mediumship that's coming into the mix, a very spiritual component that I think is going to be interesting to explore. But before we jump into all that, again, if you're new here, my name is Justin, and one of the things that I do in this channel is talk about the Celestial News Weekly, the chit chat going on up in the heavens, and I'm going to be covering the week of March 6th through the 12th, and let's get into this thing. Because on a Venus day, the 7th of March, at about 9:13 p.m., and that's going to be Pacific time, the Sun is going to be forming a trine with Mars, and this is going to happen at 17 degrees and 52 minutes. The Sun is in Pisces and Mars is in Cancer. Now, the trine is considered the most beneficial aspect. There's this movement that happens with the trine. There can be this good luck, just the obstacles start kind of falling there. Really start just seeing some results with the trine, and this I think could be very nice when we're working with the Mars in Cancer. Mars is in its fall in Cancer, and that just means when a planet's in its fall is that there's a tendency to maybe dip into its lower expressions, a bit easier than it would if Mars was in Capricorn. It's the where it finds its exaltation. So how one way I could see this, one way to I think constructively work with this could be seeing where you've wanted to maybe rise up, where you wanted to level up. That Sun in Pisces is feeling more connected with Source, is seeing where maybe it's been getting caught up in the material possibly here and has kind of gotten away from itself. So now this trine could be creating this. Maybe this Mars retrograde has shown you where you were getting into some loops where the energies were getting stagnant, clogged up in the with the water energy. And so now this trine gives you a chance to really feel like you can move this in a different direction. Like, okay, if I can feel it, I can do it. I can make it happen here. So that's one way I could see this as a constructive way, because Mars is a lunar warrior. I think in when it puts in that effort while it's in Cancer, it can really grow in a sense and have this and grow with this sense of compassion, knowing that every day is going to be something where it's like the energies are going to be high and they're going to ebb and going to flow, and I'm going to adapt to that. I'm going to be more in tune with myself. So that's one way I could see this possibly manifesting. If you want more specifics about where this movement may be happening, look to see where you have Pisces and Cancer, because those are going to be the places where this energy is going to be activating in to give you more details on this thing. I'm with it. Where it's happening in my chart, I'm so with it. But I do want to keep in mind, though, that even though this is a beneficial aspect, it's still Mars. And Mars is the lesser malefic. And if there have been some lessons, let's say in these themes that Mars has been transiting in your chart, or just looking at any themes where maybe there's been a lot of emotions, maybe we've been reactive, or maybe there's some frustrations, or maybe there's some depression, maybe there's some sort of anxiety, fear, whatever that might be looking like. If we haven't been dealing with these things, we've been repressing them and keeping them parried down, then they're just going to reveal themselves in different ways. They find different ways of they manifest outside of our things, and then there's this confusion that happens, and then that's where Mars is getting reactive, because what is this feeling? I thought I had dealt with this. Why is it this keep happening? And then the cycle just perpetuates. So that's something, and that's where I see where that Mars, again, if it's not moved, it can create a situation where it just happens again and you end up like releasing a lot more. This could be just like as a rough example. maybe there's been some disrespect that's been going on in a relationship. You've been biting your tongue, and then one day the person says something, and you're not just blowing up at them for that moment. They're getting all of the times you didn't say something, and now what was a little situation has really gone out of proportion. People are talking about it. Mars has a way of making things go wild real fast, and in Cancer, he's just like. So we don't want that. We definitely want to work more constructively with Mars in Cancer here. So, because he's got a little bit more time of it while it's in Cancer. So let's finish strong, and then get into Leo and celebrate, and hope he never comes back here again. But at least for another couple years. But let's keep the Mars energy going, I guess, because on a Mars day, the 11th of March, at about 3:54 p.m., Mercury is going to form a conjunction with Venus, who's retrograde at the moment. And this is happening at 8 degrees and 47 minutes. And check to see if you have any degree points around these around these points, because this may be working with you more personally. So if you have any placements around like Cancer, Capricorn, Libra, you may be feeling a bit more tension there, or vice versa. If you got it in Leo or Sag, you might be feeling some movement. This happened very close to my Mercury placement. That's not bad. I'm with that. But when you think about the conjunction, that is when the planets are at the same degree, and there's this fusion. It depends on what orb you use. You can use I usually work with about a 3-degree orb, depending on what planets we're talking about, and it's a fusion of energy. And when we're talking about with Venus, this is could be more of a beneficial one here, even though she's in her detriment, which means that this is when the planet is in its opposite side of its home sign. So she's in unfamiliar territory. Venus knows how to be active, since rules Libra, but she's used to doing on a more intellectual type of way. She's used to using her charisma and just kind of schmoozing people. Just let's talk about it. But here she's got to be about it. In Aries, she's just like you just got to deliver. You just go. You do first, and we talk while we're doing. We're just there's no plan there. It's a little more impromptu, I think, with this Venus here, but I think that this is one where that Mercury is, how I can see Venus and Aries working very well is going after the things that you want, not being in this place where you're waiting for things to just kind of resolve themselves and come back into harmony, but you taking the initiative to bring things into harmony. This is Venus as kind of like, instead of Venus as the lover, this is Venus as the war goddess, warrior princess. She's coming through, and it's like, you know what? Maybe this is like, again, maybe having that conversation, but having it in a way like, hey, let's go for a walk, and then let's talk about this thing. For going back to that one example from the Mars Sun trine, but I also think that this is one, too, of being able to create your desires, because Venus is a very creative force, and Venus in Aries is very prolific. And I could just see this as just in a general term where we may have been repressing some things, where we're maybe wanting to express ourselves more. And that could show up in your speech. Maybe you notice that there's a bit more inspiration there. There's a bit more fire in this. Maybe talking about future plans and things that you're wanting to do, going out and enjoying different things to maybe even help you visualize what your dream would look like. Maybe you want to be a guitar player, so go to a concert, go study different techniques, see what it's like to be on stage, what that might feel like, how invigorating that would be. That's what this Venus, and I think this Venus Mercury conjunction is. It's the power of attraction and the communication to like really go for it and to be really inspired about it. And I really like this too, because with the Sabian symbol, this is phase 9 of Aries, and the Sabian symbol for this is a crystal gazer. So, and every time I think about that, I think about just like the crystal ball and kind of like scrying here. There's this future that's trying to crystallize. And the keynote for this is the development of an inner realization of organic wholeness. And that's where I think that Mercury is that inner realization that these feelings, that fire that you're feeling, can become something organic. Because if I will it, it can be. This is like magician and empress type of energy here, Mercury and Venus. So this is a time to just to maybe explore some outlets that you've wanted to learn how to build a house. Maybe you've wanted to learn how to write a book or edit a book. Maybe you want to make your own tarot cards. Maybe you want to just looking around. Maybe you want to maybe you want to work with animals. Whatever the hell that looks like. This is the time to not just to crystallize it in your mind and then just go for it. What do the first steps look like? Sign up for a course. Go have that conversation. Go do that, book that session, whatever that is. But I think that there's something really powerful, very powerful here. So now let's talk about the last transit here, because this is happening on a Mercury day, the 12th of March. And at 3:29 a.m., the sun is going to be forming a conjunction with Saturn. And this is happening at 22 degrees and 5 minutes of Pisces. Now, I've already explained the conjunction, but when we're talking about with Saturn, between like Saturn and the sun here, we're thinking about how Saturn gives us form. Saturn is discipline, restrictions, constraint, all for the sake of building things. Saturn's not just there to just cut off stuff just because it's to help us just manifest. Really kind of give stuff structure, give structure to the chaos. That's ultimately Saturn's job. Saturn can bring a lot of abundance when you work with Saturn, especially I think in Pisces. The most formless of the zodiac signs. And that sun, the sun is the essence that fills the body. I've been thinking about this kind of a cell phone scenario with how to describe the zodiac, and where this actual device would be the rising or the ascendant. The power, the electricity, that's the sunlight, the thing that gives it life. And that Saturn in Pisces is wanting you to take that feeling of who you are, and are you in that divine will? How do you feel about where you're at on your journey right now? How intentional have you been living? And are there some things that have been left unfulfilled? Are there things that are getting in the way because we've been irresponsible with certain things? You want to look where you have because Saturn's been in this house for a while, where you have Pisces. Saturn stays about 2.5 years or so in a sign, and Saturn will retrograde back here into Pisces one more time. He's going to enter Aries and then backtrack. So this portion isn't done, but this will be a time, I'd say, with the Saturn conjunction to get things in order, to look at your journey and look at where you're at in life, and it's just like, what are some changes that I can make right now, and not the ones that were forced, but that one. Maybe an even better question is what changes am I ready to take right now? Which ones seem more applicable? Which ones do I maybe need to keep in the back of my mind? Know that I am going to have to deal with this, but it's like, let me deal with this thing first. And something that can even just help you prioritize things. Because if Saturn stuff is ignored, then it's not like Mars where things happen fast. Saturn takes its time for things to get out of, for things to, it's like, I like to think of it as like a farming analogy. If you tend to the land, you're going to eat during the winter because you'll have a harvest. But if you just kind of half-ass it, eat most of your crops throughout the summer, hosting big parties, and people are just like eating stuff away. And then when you get to wintertime, you got 3 loaves of bread, and it's got to last you for 3 months. So how's that looking? That's Saturn work, when we don't work with him, when we ignore those responsibilities, those things. But the reason I'm really emphasizing this materialization of things too, this are you living in this soul alignment? Because of the Sabian symbol for this one is phase 353 of Pisces, and this is a quote-unquote materializing medium giving a seance. And the keynote for this is the ability to give one's own vital energy, and that be your sun, to substantiate one's conscious ideals or unconscious desires. And I really think that there is giving a seance, I think that there needs to be a very physical kind of, or very clear kind of like coming of like moment with spirit. Just like a really analyzing one's life and not being critical about it, but it's just like, where have I been putting my energy? Has it been towards these conscious ideals? Have I been a participant of this experience? Or have I just been kind of mindlessly manifesting, just been kind of pulled to and fro? When someone gives me an idea, I'm like, oh yeah, and then they just kind of maybe lose steam and then kind of go here and then, just kind of, again, just sort of just being, as opposed to doing. And I think that maybe this materializing medium, this could be where you're thinking about, well, what do I do? Where do I go? And this could be where you're working with maybe a life coach, maybe an astrologer, maybe whatever that might look like. Down in the description box below, you can get in touch with me, and I got all types of services that I can provide. We can get you on track, get you asking all the questions. But I do think that this would be a great time to just, if I'm not on a simple level, just like maybe do like a journal, just like what's my next goal for the year? Maybe thinking about like how, or if you got a birthday coming up here soon, just like see where you're at on your birthday. Maybe if you happen to be, let's say we're in Pisces season, maybe your sun's in Gemini. You're got a few more months to your birthday. Like, as I wrap up this year, what went great, what didn't go great, what do I want to see for next year? Maybe you're only halfway through your birthday, maybe you're Virgo, and it's just like, man, I'm seeing that this has not been, or either maybe the things have been great, and now I want to continue this greatness. How do I stabilize this thing? So I think that's what anytime we got Saturn involved, a really great time for just cleaning up shop, checking in, making sure things are running smoothly. But I think that's ultimately all I got for you there. Yeah, a lot of stuff to think about. And if you got any degree points around 22 degrees of Pisces, I actually know someone who's got it in Virgo, and we're going to be having a conversation soon. We're waiting on that one. But if you have any points, check that out, especially around the mutable signs, Virgo, Gemini, Sagittarius. You may be feeling those ones more personally there. And I mentioned the fixed, all the mutable signs, just because that's where you would be experiencing a square, or in Virgo it would be an opposition, so it's just a little more tenser, as opposed to maybe in Cancer or in Scorpio there may be more flow that's happening here. Saturn's been trying my sun and my south node and sextile my north node. We're doing all right. We're doing all right. doing okay. But yeah, that's all I got for you. So until next time. Oh, wait a minute. If you want to work with the moon, I already talked about my services, but if you want to work with the moon, down in the description box as well as a link for my other channel, the Chariot and Friends, and I do the astrology of the moon. I talk about what sign she's in, what phase she's in. Oh, yep, thumbs up when she's going void, of course. And I also, after that, I give for the general energy, I give an I Ching reading, which is just a new thing that I started doing, so hopefully you enjoy that. I've been enjoying it. And then I give a tarot card reading at the end, and we talk about just specific themes of life and get some clarifiers, and it's a good old time. So go over there, have some fun, hang out with Cancerians. It's a great old time. But until next time, anyway, maybe later today. I had a video that just came out for this one. I think the moon's in Gemini when this one's coming out here. So look at that. I'm at a lunar return. Stay safe out there. Raise that vibration through the roof. Relax. And I will catch you on the next one. Later.